Welcome to Christy Russ's Blockchain for Beginners series. I am Christy's AI generated avatar, and I will be your host. This series is a beginner friendly breakdown. I will do my best to avoid any and all tech jargon. Let's get started with the next in the series.
Why every blockchain needs a token. Why do blockchains even need a token? Tokens aren't just money or investments. They are the mechanism that allows blockchains to function. Without tokens, there would be no way to secure the network, coordinate agreements, govern updates, prevent spam, validate transactions, or reward participation. Every blockchain needs a token to operate. From securing billion-dollar financial networks to enabling decentralized wireless internet and data storage, tokens power the backbone of a new global digital economy. Blockchain runs without a central authority. There are no banks, no companies, no governments controlling it. Instead, blockchains rely on tokens to keep everything moving. A token is a digital unit created on a blockchain. With tokens, it becomes a self-running, self-securing, and self-expanding economy, capable of powering everything from global finance to decentralized apps, identity systems, and entire digital worlds. Why this matters. Blockchains are designed to operate without central control, but decentralization only works if there's a system to secure the network. Without a central authority, blockchains need a way to protect themselves from fraud, manipulation, or malicious attacks. Tokens create the economic foundation for security. In systems like proof of stake, validators must lock up tokens as collateral. If they act dishonestly, they lose them, making security a matter of aligned incentives rather than trust. Coordinate agreement. Thousands of independent nodes must come to the same conclusion about every new block of data. Tokens are used to elect validators, weigh their votes, and finalize consensus. This decentralized agreement is what ensures all users share the same version of the truth without a company or government overseeing it. Prevent abuse. If transactions were free, spam and denial of service attacks could flood the network and bring it to a halt. Requiring tokens to send transactions introduces a cost, discouraging bad actors and keeping the system running smoothly. Manage upgrades. Blockchains aren't static, they evolve. But without a CEO or board, how do decentralized networks make decisions? Through token-based governance. Token holders can propose changes, vote on upgrades, and influence the direction of the network. This transforms users into active participants in the evolution of the technology. Reward participation. Running a blockchain takes work, validating transactions, storing data, building apps, and securing the network. Tokens are the incentive that motivates people to contribute their time, resources, and creativity. They ensure there's a reason for the right people to keep showing up. Tokens make this possible. They turn blockchains from static databases into living economies. They enforce trust, enable collaboration, and drive growth without needing a central company, bank, or government. Tokens are not an extra feature. They are what makes blockchain work. Without tokens, blockchain would just be a ledger. With tokens, it becomes a self-governing, self-securing, self-sustaining economy. What tokens actually do. Security. For a blockchain to be trustworthy, it must be protected against fraud, double spending, and bad actors trying to rewrite transaction history. In traditional systems, security is managed by banks, clearinghouses, or centralized servers. In blockchain, the network secures itself. Tokens create the incentive for honest behavior. In proof-of-work systems, like Bitcoin, miners compete to solve complex mathematical problems. The winner earns tokens. This process requires real-world costs, electricity, hardware, which makes attacking the network too expensive to be practical. In proof-of-stake systems like Ethereum, validators are selected based on how many tokens they lock up as collateral. If they validate dishonestly, they lose part or all of their staked tokens. Tokens align economic incentives with network security. They make sure protecting the blockchain is profitable and attacking it is costly. Without tokens, there would be no reliable reason for anyone to protect the blockchain. Consensus. Blockchains are decentralized. They need a way for thousands of independent computers, nodes, to agree on what transactions have happened and in what order. This agreement is called consensus. Tokens make consensus possible. Validators are chosen or weighted based on their token holdings. Tokens ensure validators have something at risk, real financial value, if they attempt to cheat. Tokens tie participation to responsibility. Without tokens, there would be no way to coordinate agreement fairly across a decentralized network. It would either become chaotic or revert back to central control, preventing spam. Because blockchains are open to everyone, they must defend against abuse. If sending transactions were free, a bad actor could flood the network with millions of fake transactions, overwhelming it. Tokens solve this by introducing a small fee for each transaction. Even tiny costs make spamming economically impractical. Every transaction costs a fraction of a token. Users must balance the value of what they're sending against the cost of sending it. This simple mechanism ensures the network stays usable and responsive without requiring a central authority to monitor traffic. Without tokens, blockchains would be vulnerable to cheap attacks that could shut them down. Governance. Blockchain technology is not static. It needs to evolve and adapt. With no central authority, blockchains need a way for users to propose and vote on changes. Tokens allow decentralized governance. Token holders can propose upgrades and vote on important changes. The more tokens a user holds, the greater their influence, aligning decision making with those most invested in the network's success. Without tokens, there would be no decentralized way to manage growth or improvement. Innovation would either stall or power would concentrate back in the hands of a few. Participation. Blockchains require real work. Validators keep the network running. Node operators store blockchain data. Developers build applications. Users engage with services. Tokens make participation worthwhile. Validators are paid in tokens for processing transactions. Developers can be rewarded in tokens for building useful applications. Users can earn tokens for contributing services or providing liquidity. This transforms a blockchain into a living economy, not just a passive database. Without tokens, there would be no reason for anyone to provide the resources blockchains need to survive and grow. Beyond the basics, how tokens expand blockchain's reach. These use cases aren't theories, they're already powering networks used by millions. Here's how tokens are expanding blockchain into the physical world. While securing the network and managing consensus are foundational, tokens also enable blockchains to expand into real-world use cases. Real-world data access. Smart contracts cannot pull in external information on their own. They need oracles, decentralized services that bring in data like stock prices, weather reports, or election results. Permanent storage. Traditional cloud storage is controlled by centralized companies. Files can be changed, censored, or deleted at any time. Decentralized storage networks like Arweave use tokens to pay for permanent storage. Once data is stored, it cannot be altered or erased, and the payment in AR tokens secures it indefinitely. Tokens ensure that data remains online and accessible without trusting a central provider. XRP and the XRP Ledger, native token and bridge currency. The XRP Ledger, XRPL, was designed for one primary purpose: fast, low-cost value transfer across currencies and borders. At the center of this system is XRP, the ledger's native token. XRP plays two critical roles: network protection, anti-spam. Every transaction on the XRPL requires a small fee in XRP, which is burned, destroyed. Even though the fee is tiny, it introduces a real cost to every transaction, preventing spam attacks. Without XRP, the ledger would have no built-in defense against spam. Bridge asset for currency transfers. XRP simplifies liquidity between different currencies. Instead of needing a direct pair for every possible currency combination, XRP acts as a bridge. USD to XRP to MXN EUR to XRP to JPY. Liquidity providers only need to hold XRP, not every other currency. This makes cross-border transfers faster and cheaper. Unlike stablecoins, which are pegged to fiat currencies, native tokens like XRP, Bitcoin, or ADA are embedded in the core logic of their blockchain and are required for it to function. Why XRP is essential. XRP is not optional on the XRP ledger, it is the foundation. It provides the cost barrier that protects the network from spam. It creates the liquidity bridge that makes global value transfers possible. It is embedded in the code, making sure every node and validator speaks the same language for transactions. Without XRP, the XRPL would lose its security, no anti-spam fees, its efficiency, no universal liquidity bridge, its unity, no shared asset understood across the network. Final takeaway. Tokens are not optional features. They are what turn blockchain from a concept into a living, working system. Without them, there is no security, no agreement, no governance, and no reason to participate. With them, we unlock an entirely new digital economy, one where trust is built into the code and participation fuels the system itself. The more we understand what tokens actually do, the more prepared we are to shape how they'll be used next.
I hope you enjoyed this episode for the Blockchain for Beginners series. Please like, share, and subscribe on LinkedIn, Substack, and YouTube for the rest of the written and video series. All of the links are provided in the details or post for this video.